Good afternoon and welcome back to Amy's Place. I just got my shot and I feel relieved. Um, B12 usually kicks in pretty quickly, so by tonight, tomorrow morning, I'll be back to normal. So yeah, that's an ordeal to go through every month. But I'm sitting here today and just wanted to talk about things that I was once afraid to try, but I'm glad I did. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. Some of the things that I was afraid to try, but glad I did, was one of the things as an adult, okay, I was in my early 30s, and well, actually, something happened. My late 20s, I decided that I was going to go back to school. I was going to get my degree in social work. And that was such a learning experience, life lessons, study skills, all those things that I just always took for granted. The friendships I made, the jobs I had, the impact I had. So that was number one, was getting my degree. Number two was I actually was in politics. Yes, as a social worker with veterans, I was very frustrated that everything always had to go back to the fiscal budget from within the state, had to go back to the legislator, writing letters and making phone calls. And so I decided one day, you know what? If they're not going to if I can't beat them, I'm going to join them, but it's going to be on my terms. So when I went into politics and I went into social work, they went hand in hand. But I was determined that I was going to advocate for homeless veterans, and I did. First time I ran against my opponent, I had $300. My daughter was about 10 or 11, and she had one friend helping. I almost beat my opponent, who had an army. This person was a political machine in this state, and I got 2/3 of the vote. So I almost won. I had 10 signs, 2 kids helping me, and $300. 2 of the signs were on my front lawn. So I'm glad I did that. Second time I ran, I realized that me and this opponent had more in common than we didn't. We were both from the same political party. So I dropped out of the race about a month before the election, and I supported the other person. And I'm glad I did, because the friendships developed, and they ended up being very close family friends. Let's see, something else I'm glad I was afraid to try, but I'm glad I did, was absolutely taking care of my mother. I was so afraid that I was going to mess up. I wasn't going to be able to do it. I didn't want her to go into a nursing home. I gave it all I had, and I'm glad I did. Another thing that I'm glad I was afraid to try, but glad I did, was the first time I went to a Baptist church and got saved. I was so afraid to walk into a church that wasn't Catholic. Then I was afraid to get baptized because I don't know how to swim, and I thought I was going to drown. Oh ye of little faith. I got baptized. I didn't drown. I'm glad I got baptized. Afraid to try YouTube. I met wonderful people, and I'm glad I did YouTube. Something else that I was afraid to try, but was glad I did, was I started sewing after a friend that I never met from Ohio sent me a sewing machine. She thought that me and my granddaughters would really enjoy it, and we did. I like to sew. And just as recently as yesterday, I tried something new. I couldn't find out how to make apple tea. So I boiled some apples and some cinnamon sticks for a few hours, poured it in a mason jar, and I just heated some up. No sugar, nothing added. Delicious. I guess it's like hot infused water. To me, it's tea. Tastes really good. I was also afraid to can food and preserve it. I was afraid to dehydrate. But I ordered a dehydrator, and I'm glad I did. I ordered a canner, and I'm glad I did. I have 2 AeroGardens. I like growing indoors, and I'm glad I did. Most importantly, I met all of you. 1,307 of you on my YouTube channel. And I'm glad I did.